This is QTV News. I am Mariettu Sidibe and thanks for joining us. First, the headlines. The Gambia Catholic community on Saturday held its 33rd pilgrimage at the shrine of Our Lady Queen of Peace in Kunkujang, Mariama. We were at this year's Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry Business Awards Night, sponsored by QCell, which saw awards to various deserving individuals and companies, and featured some surprises. The TRRC and partners held two-day meeting by experts to review the Commission's draft documents on reparations regulations. A forum for women and youths to commemorate the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence was organized on Monday. For more on these and other stories, stay tuned. And now the news in detail. The Gambia Catholic community on Saturday held its 33rd pilgrimage at the shrine of Our Lady Queen of Peace in Kunkujang, Mariama. The yearly event brings together Catholics from all over the diocese and beyond to attend the Holy Mass. Bintu Koka reports.
The pilgrimage, which happens every year, started in 1986 in Kunkujang as a place for pilgrimages, which Gambians could identify as their own, named as the Shrine of Our Lady Queen of Peace. Catholics gathered to seek forgiveness and pray for God's blessings with processions, confessions, and a church service to mark the day. The pilgrimage began with the Station of the Cross, which is devotional prayer enabling the pilgrims to reflect on the mystery of the life, suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. In his sermon, Bishop Gabriel Mendy encourages the pilgrims to pray for peace for the Gambia. He adds that God has given rights to everyone to worship what they believe in, reminding people to be humble and lowly at heart, following the footsteps of Mary.
She said clearly that the president wanted to help Islam. And then the bishop of the Methodist told her, you cannot be a parent, have two children, help one and leave the other.
Father Jaju, a priest, spoke about the exclusion of secularism from the Constitution and recalling the Christians' community's encounter with the previous government. He adds that Christians should use their voters' cards as their voice and participate in the decision-making process. The story of Kunkujang Mariama does not have anything to do with the appearance of Mary or any vision seen. It is an inspiration from devoted Christians to have a place of worship. Bintu Koka, QTV News.
This year's Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry Business Awards Night, sponsored by QCell, saw awards to various deserving individuals and companies. We were there to capture the action on what turned out to be a night of unexpected and delightful twists. Bintu Koka reports.
With the theme, Regional Networking and Youth Empowerment, the night was filled with expectation as a packed audience waited to hear who had walked away with the coveted awards. Lamin Jafune, who scooped the Young Entrepreneur of the Year prize, a nurse, an statist and social entrepreneur, and proprietor of Nested Clinical Services, explains about the latter, which won him the prize. He also tells who the product's initial targets are. Businesswoman of the Year, Fatisen Gay, who runs the Gainjara Skills Academy, was naturally delighted to have beaten off strong competition to win the award. Award for the most uniquely Gambian business went to Ida Cham of Yaboy Home Cooking, which invites tourists to her home to sample Gambian cuisine and culture. As if winning an award was not reward enough, there was a surprise announcement from Q Group CEO Mohamed Jah.
The two winners for the Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2018, the first winner will go with a prize of $300,000. The second winner will go with a prize of $200,000. Well, the second on the, and I think is Lamin Jafune and Maria Manjai. And Businesswoman of the Year will also give $300,000 to the first winner, and the second winner $200,000. That's $1 million shared between the four winners. I just want to say that this is not going to be the first time we want to start from now onwards, because we entrepreneurs believe that winning should come with cash. When I went to win my Mature Business Award and I was giving $100,000, it made a big difference, not about the money, but it gave me, strength and focus, more focus. So from now onwards, every year, we would be giving the winner of the Young Entrepreneur of the Year for GCCI $500,000 and the winner of the Women Business Award $500,000. You want more competition in this area.
There was also a surprise in store for Mohamed Jah, which came during the speech on behalf of President Barrow, delivered by the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Mambre Njai, who first of all had praise for Mohamed Jah, followed by this statement.
You have to give the entire credit to Q Group for bankrolling. I know you are penniless, but Q Group, we congratulate you, and we can assure you, even if you ask for tax break, I will give it to you.
Bintu Koka, QTV News.
A two-day meeting by experts to review the TRRC draft document on reparations regulations is being organized by the Africa and West Asia Program of International IDEA with the TRRC and partners. Babkar C reports.
The overall objective of the expert meeting is to discuss comparative experiences from South Africa, Liberia, Togo, Burkina Faso and Morocco on challenges and opportunities of development and implementation of reparations regulations in transitional justice processes. Following the defeat of the authoritarian regime of Yahya Jammeh in the December 2016 presidential elections, the Gambia embarked on process of transitioning to a proper democracy. Among the processes is the transitional justice to address the human rights abuse during Jammeh's time in office. Maurice Ongelengele, Senior Program Officer at the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, said reparations are key components in transitional justice processes.
This meeting is therefore timely because after 1 year, it is now time to hear about citizens, experts, victims, all stakeholders on this issue of reparation.
Dr. Julian Atakla Ayinon, UNDP Transitional Justice Advisor representing the UNDP country rep, said his office is proud to be associated with such processes.
It's a long journey, and before embarking on such a journey, it is important to set the rules. And that is why we are here today, and UNDP is very happy and grateful to the TRRC and IDEA International for inviting UNDP, for involving us in the process of experience sharing. When you are embarking on such a journey, the first thing you want to do is to reflect upon what you are trying to do, to learn from experiences from other jurisdictions. And that's what IDEA has decided together with TRRC, supporting TRRC, to do.
Madam Adeluet Sose, Vice Chairperson of the TRRC, who doubles as the Chairperson of the Reparations Committee, said the gathering marks an important milestone in the work of the TRRC. She, however, highlighted that although $50 million were given by the government last year, raising expectations, the amount, she said, is not enough to cover even half of the 26 teams on the investigations.
Those who have suffered human rights violations deserve acknowledgement of these violations and appropriate action taken to provide redress. The response from our idea in response to our request can only be described as smart. It was swift, immediate, attainable in the sense that we are holding the meeting. It was realistic and it was timely. We are just holding the meeting 2 months after the request was made. And normally, you know how long these requests take. They can take forever.
Keba Jom, representative from the Victim Center, thanked the government and its partners for the support since the inception of the Truth Commission. However, he raised concerns on behalf of the victims about the government's decision to release former members of Jammeh's hit squad, the Junglers, who confessed to participating in gross human rights violations.
The victims have expressed concerns with the release of 4 junglers by the Minister of Justice earlier this year, as well as the continued presence of perpetrators in our security sectors as a precedent that may deter justice to the victims at the end of the TRRC.
It is expected that at the end of the expert meeting on Tuesday, the members of the Reparations Committee of the TRRC will be in a position to finalize the draft reparations regulations. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
We will go with a short commercial break, and when we return, we find out what happened at the 9th Farafenni Marathon, and we also hear about a donation of drugs and medical equipment to the Ministry of Health. Join us after the break for these stories and more.
10 years. For 10 years, we have worked to deliver world-class products and services. For 10 years, we have cultivated a reputation of excellence and quality. For 10 years, we have strived to support our people and our culture. With a history of quality behind us and a present-day drive to be the best, we continue to forge ahead towards a future of growth. As a quality network you trust, we have worked to ensure stability, innovation, and distinction. QCell, a decade of innovation, a lifetime of trust.
QCell is 10. This December, as part of our 10-year anniversary celebrations, QCell is on a giveaway spree. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and correctly answer the questions that will be posted on our social media pages every day. Or call into our Sunibus Hour radio show on Q Radio 103.3 Monday to Thursday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and stand the chance to get one of our amazing giveaways. It's going to be a great month of giveaways. QCell, a decade of innovation, a lifetime of trust.
Welcome back. You're still watching QTV News. The 9th edition of the Farafenni Marathon was held on Saturday. The popular event saw athletes compete in the 21 kilometers half marathon, 10 kilometers race for men and women, and 15 kilometers cycling race. Our reporter Momodu Gajaga was there, and he now reports.
Reaching the finish line in some style, Sambaba scoops the 2019 Farafenni Marathon title for the second time in succession and is fourth overall. It has now become familiar territory for one of the country's best long-distance runners in recent years.
I know that it is going to be very competitive. I know it because I know how they train. I know the event was going to be very tough, but I have in mind that no matter what the race demands, no matter how fast they run or the style they run, the ending point should be mine.
Despite coming first in the men's 10-kilometer race, Samper Gomez, a Gambia Police Force athlete, says he found it tough to reach the finish line.
I don't think I will recover even 1 week later.
But how did you come first?
Yeah, it's all about training because if you see last year I was the winner. So this year I come to maintain my title. It's not easy because I can say this is the toughest race I have ever run.
In the women's 10-kilometer race, Nyima Kamara came first. Prior to this, she had also won several road races. It was almost a show of the Nyimas because all the first three athletes are called Nyima. Aliou Jammeh won the 15-kilometer cycling race. He used the opportunity to talk about the challenges faced by the cyclists in the country.
ndimbal buñ soxla gisuñ ko nekkul bayki correct bayki carbone da nga génn nga jëpp ko xamantene mi nga am bayk bo xamantene soko sévé na loxo daf ko égati
da nga soxla bayk
dama soxla bayk bu correct bayk bo xamantene spécial bayk la waaw soxla kicks everything is correct.
We really lack support from our sports body. Can you imagine that we don't even have proper racing bikes? In order for us to compete, we have to get proper racing bikes. Yusufa Jammeh, chairman of the Farafenni Marathon Committee, described the event as a success. The proceeds generated from the event are giving back to the community, supporting the Farafenni General Hospital.
New sponsors this year as well. But the most important thing is the people of Farafenni are happy. They are appreciating what we're trying to do for the town. It's the health sector. It's a massive, massive ask. But we can only do the little that we're doing just to complement the efforts of everybody else.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Farafenni General Hospital, Wandefa Samate, said the Marathon Committee has helped greatly in improving healthcare delivery at the hospital.
The Farafenni Marathon Association for the past 3 years have been supporting Farafenni General Hospital with various items of medical equipment and other valuable supplies. And in 2018, they finally adopted the surgical ward of the hospital. And thanks to their generous support in 2018, we were able to fully refurbish the surgical department.
Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
A 20-feet container of medical supplies and pharmaceuticals was donated to the Ministry of Health by Child Fund The Gambia with support from MAP International. Lamin Dabo reports.
The medical supplies and pharmaceuticals are to complement government's efforts to improve the medical needs of vulnerable children in the Gambia. Lamin Maron, Director of Nursing, speaking on behalf of the Health Minister, said the donation is the third of its kind within a year. He further explains the importance the donated items will play in improving quality health service delivery.
Pharmaceuticals donated previously and today are of relevance, the most needed, and of excellent quality. This demonstrates their commitment to our genuine partnership in our collective desire to improve the lives of the people of this country, especially women and children.
Child Fund The Gambia Country Director Muskuta Komma says their institution has a long-standing history with the country's health sector, resulting in numerous interventions aimed at improving the health sector.
Today's ceremony also reinforces Child Fund's core intent of helping the deprived, excluded, and the vulnerable children have the capacity to improve their lives and the opportunity to become young adults, parents, and the leaders who bring lasting and positive changes in their communities. We are of the strongest conviction that these items will help to make a huge difference in our collective efforts to ensure quality, affordable, and accessible healthcare delivery in our beloved country.
Michael Brown, a representative of Child Fund International, is grateful for the efforts of Child Fund Gambia and local partners, including the Health Ministry.
Where the hospitals and clinics can get the products that they need from the central medical stores. It's a very impressive system of demand that's determining supply instead of just supplies coming in. And that is essential to providing what is absolutely needed for the people of the Gambia to meet their health needs.
Director of National Laboratory Services under the Ministry of Health, Ignatius Balde, thanked Child Fund The Gambia and its donor partners. He went on to appeal to the Child Fund Gambia's office to support the laboratory unit in the diagnosing of tuberculosis in children. Mr. Balde also urged the donors to decentralize their interventions to the provinces.
I want Child Fund to look at how they can expand into this facilitation and support of the diagnosis of tuberculosis in children. We have the systems in place here. The constant challenge is the availability of simple supplies to feed the machines that actually do this diagnosis. So this is my personal pledge to Child Fund. Secondly, we talk about rural-urban migration. It is a big challenge in this country. And I've heard and appreciated your collaboration with international organizations such as the UNICEF to contribute to health service delivery in this country, countrywide. But I want to plead that with your concentration in the urban area, you start looking at how you decentralize.
Child Fund is a non-governmental organization engaged in child welfare, agricultural crop production, food aid distribution, healthcare, rural business enterprises, among others. For QTV News, Lamin Alaj Fandin Dabo.
A forum for women and youths to commemorate the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence was organized on Monday by Civil Society Gender Platform with support of the United Nations Transitional Justice Peacebuilding Fund. Aisha Jani reports.
The forum brings together different stakeholders for advocacy, dissemination of information, and understanding of policies and legislations to combat sexual and gender-based violence in homes, communities, and at workplaces. The program assistant for the International Center for Transitional Justice, Catherine P. Jase, says one of the objectives of the forum is to raise awareness on sexual and gender-based violence on women to inform the transitional justice process. She gives the other objectives.
Engage relevant stakeholders, state and non-state actors, and victims in order to address sexual and gender-based violence effective, strengthen and improve communication between the gender platform and transitional justice mechanisms, enhance understanding of sexual and gender-based violence in a broader context, and encourage victim-centered discussion.
The president of the Civil Society Gender Platform, Tabunjai Sar, says the platform is timely as sexual and gender-based violence in the Gambia is becoming an epidemic, considering recent violations against women.
There is a loud cry of attacks on women and girls, ranging from rape, wife beating, FGM, child marriage, and insults. 3 women were assaulted behind the stadium in Bakau. They were not only physically assaulted, but they were sexually assaulted. And this is becoming an epidemic, and we must sit and discuss as a country to see how we can amend this menace that is creeping in our society.
She adds that data has shown that among women aged 15 to 44 years, gender-based violence accounts for more deaths and disability than the combined effects of cancer, malaria, traffic injuries, and war. The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare, Rohibite Dabo, expresses much assurance of the ministry's support to women. She adds that although the ministry is newly established, it is taking great strides in the fight against gender-based violence.
The Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare, though newly established, has taken enormous steps in mitigating gender-based violence in totality through the formulation of policies and legislation such as the coming into force of the Sexual Offense and Domestic Violence Act, as well as the Women Policy to address gender equity, equality, and empowerment for meeting the National Development Plan 2018-2021 agenda.
The Women and Youth Forum considers the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence befitting to raise awareness on human rights violations meted to women, as well as commemorate the 2-week period in the context of the transitional justice process with its mechanisms of CRC, TRRC, and SSR. For QTV News, I am Aisha Jain.
The International Office for Migration has issued a press release in relation to recent incidents of migrants from the Gambia getting into difficulty at sea. The release states, Mauritanian authorities, in coordination with the government of the Gambia, returned the 78 survivors of Wednesday's fatal shipwreck today, 9th December. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, had been providing humanitarian assistance to the survivors in Nouadhibou. Meanwhile, on Friday, 6th December, a second fishing boat carrying between 150 and 180 migrants was intercepted by the Mauritanian Coast Guard. This group was also returned by authorities. Although the migrants did not return voluntarily, on request of the government of the Gambia, IOM agreed to provide immediate emergency assistance upon arrival under the framework of the EU-IOM Joint Initiative for Migrant Protection and Reintegration. This includes immediate medical and psychosocial support, food and essential supplies, temporary accommodation and onward transportation to communities of origin for over 250 individuals who opted to receive assistance. IOM advocates for migrants rescued at sea to be disembarked through predictable mechanisms and for alternatives to administrative detention to be identified. IOM will continue to work with the Gambia Red Cross and the International Committee of the Red Cross in Mauritania to help families identify whether their loved ones were among the dead. Before we end this bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. The Gambia Catholic community on Saturday held its 33rd pilgrimage at the Shrine of Our Lady Queen of Peace in Kunkujang, Mariama. We were at this year's Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry Business Awards Night, sponsored by QCell, which saw awards to various deserving individuals and companies, and featured some surprises. The TRRC and partners held a two-day meeting by experts to review the Commission's draft documents on reparations regulations. A forum for women and youths to commemorate the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence was organized on Monday. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Thank you for watching.